Hey there, Aligned You listeners. This is Dr. M here, and welcome to our Aligned and Thriving season and series of interviews. I am super pumped to be sharing a series of stories and interviews with some amazing humans. People, some who I've admired from a distance for a long period of time, others who I know personally and call dear friends and feel very privileged to do so. This series is designed to actually dive deeper into what allows them to truly live an aligned you life and to be thriving, whether that's in their work life, their home life, or their play life. And working out truly, is there common themes or is everyone different and we really do all reach our full potential in our own unique way? Enjoy this season. I've had an absolute pleasure and joy recording it. I'm your host, Dr. M, and you're listening to Aligned You, a podcast designed to assist you to truly be aligned through your body, head, and heart so you can reach your full potential in your own unique way. Hey there, Aligned You listeners. Dr. M here, and welcome to this week's episode of the Aligned and Thriving interview series. I am filled with so many different emotions to have our amazing guest on tonight. She's such an amazing soul who I had the pleasure of meeting in person a few months ago now. Dr. Katina Manning is a vibrant 68 years young. Guys, she looks like she's 35 in real life. Not even kidding. She's not just a renowned chiropractor, but a teacher of life, awakening the multidimensional gifts within individuals and guiding them towards the greatness that resides within them. With a mission deeply rooted in igniting the spark of healing wisdom I'll pop my teeth back in early, that exists within each of us. She has dedicated her life to touching and changing lives, always with a heart filled with joy that spreads happiness, health, prosperity, and love. She has a belief in the innate wisdom and the fortitude that resides within every cell and space of humanity, and has led her to embark on mission trips to Armenia, Africa. She's created healing centers, retreats in Nicaragua. I might have said that slightly wrong. I'm sure you can help me out with making that sound better. She's walked the El Camino, traversing 333 kilometers through Spain. She's just freaking amazing. And I'm so very excited to have her on Aligned You for the Aligned and Thriving series, because there's so many topics I want to talk to this amazing woman about. Dr. Katina Manning, welcome to Aligned You. Thank you so much for joining us on Aligned You tonight.
It's such a gift to be here with you, and that we're wrapping this whole world in love. I'm up here in Boston, you're down there in Australia, and we're going to wrap this world in love because it makes a huge difference.
Oh,
Thank
absolutely.
you for putting the show together.
Oh, you're so welcome. When I was putting together, you were part of the inspiration. You may not know this. You were actually part of the inspiration to get back on the mic. So I've been podcasting since 2017, and you really, really helped not only myself, but my gorgeous wife, Amy, when she was going through a little bit of a troublesome time when we met you when you were down in Australia back in May. And you really did rock our world in so many different ways. We might share a little bit later about what you were removing from my system. I don't know if you remember. We were in Redfern Town Hall.
No, forget.
That's all right. I'll perhaps remind you of it. But you really did rock my world and rock our world, and it inspired me to get back on the mic, because I'd had a 6-month break actually from recording live, and also for a lot of the speaking work that I was doing. And it was so profound when we got to meet you in person for both myself and Ames. So when I was putting together this particular interview series, you were top of mind to get onto the mic to be able to share some of your wisdom with the Aligned You listeners. So, and I get to see you again in December, which I'm pretty bloody excited about, just saying.
Yes, me too. You know, what you just said about helping crack the lies off of people. Like, you and your wife had these subluxations, these places of less light, these areas that were literally burdening your development, burdening your brightness. And as a good chiropractor, literally being able to put my hands inside those places, inside those wounds, inside those cracks, and let the inside light shine out more. That's why you had the most profound experience, because what you're experiencing is yourself. You're getting to experience the potential of who you are, and the brightness and the vastness. So this job that we have, it's a job. It's better than a job. For sure. It's a calling.
I think so. I think for the chiropractors I certainly like hanging out with, it's a calling. I know some probably see it as a job, but I don't know that they work till they're 68 doing what they love. Somehow I think they're ready to retire early. But I want to dive into that a little bit, Dr. Katina, because the premise of the Aligned and Thriving interview series is to talk to people that I find inspiring and interesting, and that I see them having success in their life in whatever that they define success as, but that you're able to live life in spirit and enjoy doing what it is that you love to do. And so I'd love to actually wind the clock back a little bit to what actually drew you to chiropractic and wanting to help people heal and find those spots that the light wasn't able to shine, and to be able to help release people's potential.
When I was asked this question years ago, like, Katina, how long has this gift been with you? Did you even know about it? And I didn't. So as I sat and I looked back into my history, I realized that I'm first generation Greek immigrant. My parents came over from the boat, and healing, putting your hands on people when they were sick, praying over them, touching them, rubbing them down with alcohol. I can't tell you how many times my mom put me in ice baths, or put freezing cold alcohol over my body, or had me drink vinegar, or had me drink whiskey with something in it, and just different things. We didn't go to doctors. Okay, yeah. Doctors was done at home, and you always healed, other than appendicitis and you need a little surgery. But that was what I thought medicine was. When I was little, my mom would say, "Oh, your father has a headache? Go put your hands on it, make it go away." Her belief and her expectation of, go do it, it's done. Because I'd say, "No, Mama, I want to go out and play." She'd say, "Egine." And she'd wave her hand like that. And egine means it's birthed. It's a Greek word, Genesis. It is birthed. Oh, wow. So her sending out that message into that little girl, I'd go upstairs, I'd pull his ears, I'd rub his head, I'd pull his toes. I would just go where my hands let me or called me, and his headache would go away. A few hours later, he'd wake up and he goes, "Oh, bravo, my daughter, you make me so much better." So I went pre-med. I love the sciences. I love the body.
Was that straight after high school you went and did pre-med?
Yeah, you have to do your undergrad, and then you get ready to do your next step after that. So high school, and then you do 4 years of sciences. And then the next step was like, okay, jump into med school. And then as I started to apply, I started to go work in hospitals and different places, and I didn't like it. It was violated for me. You didn't touch the people. So thank God I was going to every lecture possible, and I met a chiropractor, and that made sense to me. I introduced myself. I said, "Can I work for you?" I said, "I'm really good with people. I'm not a secretary." And from there it took off, and I learned from Thompson. I learned applied kinesiology. I taught Touch for Health in the local schools for lay people. I started a pathway of acupuncture. So what I experienced at the chiropractor's office just opened up doors for me to go learn everything. Touch for Health, AK, acupuncture, nutrition, and it just fed my soul.
I love that.
Finding the root of why you love to help people is really important. I didn't even know what a chiropractor was, but other people believed in my gift. Other people would say, "Put your hands over here, Katina, you make me feel better." I didn't know what I was doing. "Oh, Katina, put your hand over here. I like that. That feels good. Oh, thank you." And I would do something. Or dogs and animals. I'd always find broken animals. I'd pick up birds that ran into the windows, and I'd CPR them and blow their little chest open again. The instinct that's inside of us, that desire, you've got to follow, no matter what it is in life.
And so when you then discovered chiropractic, for our listeners, because whilst our listeners all know that I am a chiropractor, is I don't often I talk about chiropractic all the time. They don't necessarily know I'm talking about chiropractic though. So how would you define your role as a chiropractor, and how do you explain to people what chiropractic is? Because you come at it from perhaps an angle that not all chiropractors do.
I find that it is one of the greatest healing gifts, arts and sciences that we have on this planet right now, that helps unite man back to his spirit. And people may say, oh, chiropractors, that deals with back pain, right? And I said, that's only one aspect in the wheel of health. And it aligns. The first chiropractor literally said that we are to align man's body and mind to their spirit. And heck, God said the same thing. We came down on a lightning bolt and we're supposed to climb back up that good old Jacob's ladder. And people come in with so many burdens on their being. And as we put our hands on it and help that life force to move, the being of who they are literally gets to be expressed. So I think all healing arts, chiropractic, or anything where you put your hands on with a pure intention is a gift. And so that's how I explain chiropractic.
Oh, I love that. I love that a lot. I love when I get to talk to clients about innate intelligence and releasing potential. It's a much bigger conversation than what often people walk in the front door of Mitchell Road Chiropractic than what they think they're about to have. I kind of joke that the reason why there's three reasons why people walk into my practice, Katina. And the first reason is because I have both dogs at the practice all the time when I'm there. So sometimes I just want to come and say hi to the dogs, and they think they're coming in to get racked and cracked, and then they very quickly realize that that's actually not what we do at MRC. And then the other reasons in terms of the posture correction, and then also from a system alignment and actually connecting with higher self. It's truly amazing what we get to do. And I love that. I love being inspired by what you're doing now in your late 60s, which a lot of people are shutting up shop and going into retirement. And you're still not just not shutting up shop, but traveling the world, still teaching people and creating amazing healing retreats. What keeps you vital? What keeps you in spirit, and what keeps you in joy in doing the work that you're doing?
Balancing. I look at myself like I'm three corporations. I'm a body, I'm a mind, and the spirit. And for my body, I make sure that it has the things it needs. I eat properly, I sleep, I hydrate a lot. I do things for that corporation. For my mind, my pros and cons are it's smart, it's creative, it can get chattery. My spirit, it's my life force, it's my innate, it's my prayer connection that I need to do. So when one of my corporations is being a bit ornery, let's say my body, I'm aching, this, that, and the other. I did an extra 2 hours of Pilates this week, and boy, I can't wait to get adjusted. So I need to do more things for my body, like lay on my noodle and take a hot bath and walk backwards. When my mind gets chattery, I listen to it and I play games with it, and I say, I'm aware of you. I'm going to be and breathe with you. ABCs. See, I have conscientious choices as to what I'm going to do with that thought. I don't let one of my corporations take off. Like I can't sit in the woods for 82 hours and pray and meditate, though I'd love to. That's what my spirit wants to do. So I've got you balance the three of them.
Yeah, is keep that triad working in balance. I really like that. I love that visual of the three corporations. In Aligned You, I talk about body, head, and heart alignment. It's the premise of Aligned You is so that you can stay in in alignment of those three areas, so that you can perform at your best in your own unique way. And I think it's fair to say, Dr. Katina, you are a fairly unique human. And a unique soul. So, which as I mentioned earlier, and I'm a massive, massive fan of yours, is actually being in your presence. If Aligned You listeners, if you ever get a chance to do anything with Dr. Katina, I highly recommend it, because it is life-changing to be in your presence. That is for sure. What do you love most about teaching? Because you're traveling the world and you're teaching not only chiropractors, but all sorts of different professionals, and also people that aren't in the healing arts as well. What do you love most about the teaching work that you do?
I love to see people's eyes get excited when they touch the wound, because literally that's what I teach them, is to let your hands be like magnets. Put your hands on the place that calls you in. Okay. Sometimes the wound doesn't want to be touched. Other times the place, we're going to call it the wound or the crack in the system, wants to be touched. And by allowing yourself to be aligned and willing to put your hand in that wound, you're actually practicing sainthood. I love seeing saints, reading about saints. And so many saints would have like a lion or a tiger where a thorn was stuck in their paw, or the thing was tangled up with mangled things all over them. And they were unafraid. They had to make friends with that animal, that being, and go and peel that terrible thing off of them. And then the saint and that animal became best of friends for years. So that approach is where I align with, is to be unafraid, and also to anchor in. Like if someone's drowning and there's no one around, oh boy, okay, you call help, you put a rope on, and you strategize, and it takes 3 minutes, not even, and then you jump in. But it's strategic. You use every gift that you have, and you go right from your heart and let your heart pull you in. Like a mother. How does a mother know to burp a baby here or there or right there is the right tympani, and then the baby goes broop or poops or does whatever it needs to do? Yes.
I love that. Watching people's eyes light up while they're having those moments. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And in terms of, I know that you and our dear friend Dr. Trees, have worked some amazing mission work where you've gone into some countries that aren't as lucky as the 2 countries that we call home, and that their health systems are very different. I think we could probably both say that both of the countries we reside in, there's flaws in our medical systems and our health systems, but in these particular countries, the work that you do there is quite amazing. What was the calling to go and do that in the first place?
Kind of simple in that I had set up a seminar in Spain. And I was talking to Therese, and she says, "Oh, my mom wants us to go to Armenia. I've never been. It's my homeland." And I said, "Therese, you come help me in Spain, and then I'm going to go there I'll come to Armenia with you, and let's do a mission trip. We're there. We're going to have we'll bring our table, and we'll serve the people." She takes things and takes off with it. She writes. She's amazing.
She really is.
So she writes letters to the Minister of Health, to the President of the country. I mean, she writes all these amazing letters. Not me. I would have just walked in and just winged it. So she writes all these letters. We hear from these different church groups who want to pick us up and bring us everywhere. We hear from all these orphanages. And we literally create a schedule of visit the family, and then get ourselves a driver. And we went across the country to different orphanages, into hospitals, into, oh my goodness, villages that with nothing in them. And any place we were called, we were aligned, and we literally hopscotched right through the country with our driver.
I love that. Do you have much, so over the years, in 40 years, I mean, how many thousands of people have you laid hands on and adjusted over the years? It would be in the thousands. It would be in the tens of thousands, probably. I'm sure. Do you have, from those different mission trips, do you have a particular person or child that you adjusted that really stands out for you, or is it there too many to recount?
Oh, there's so many. Actually, one. And the only reason was because I didn't see the results. It was, we were at an orphanage, and I was working with this little fella quite a bit, and he couldn't roll over, and he was, I don't know, must have been 6 years old, 8 years old. He was kind of long, and he couldn't roll over. He doesn't have any core yet. So I worked him, and I worked him, and I worked him, and I worked him, and I worked him. And I hugged him and I blessed him, and then I had to leave a day early. So I'm at the airport, and I get a phone call from Therese and Anna, and said, that little boy, Katina, after you left, we went back and we worked more of the kids. He's rolling over and he's tumbling. He found his lateral line. So the key about that little ability to change a child's life, because I know that once certain neurology kicks into people, they'll just keep growing. You just got to get the glitches out of the way. That right there touched me the most, because you don't get to see the goodness you do. So what's interesting is I'm an extroverted introvert. I could spend time in the woods and just be alone a lot, but I have this big personality that seems to attract people a lot. And so it's
That's
a
not
gift.
much good for an introvert.
Oh, man.
Oh, I love that.
So
I
your
love
gift
that.
is as heavy as your burden.
Yeah.
And I think because the preference of wanting to stay in hiding, God gives me this boom personality that when I see something that needs to happen, I'm the first one to stick my hand in it.
Yeah.
I can't hold back. I am like a wild horse, and that when the field is open or something's there, I'll reach in. People on the street, I make sure that walking down the street, I want to look at everybody's eyes. I want to connect to them. I want to connect them. I want to let them know that you're beautiful. I want to mirror that in people. And putting my hands on things that are messed up in people's lives, I see the light inside of them, and I love to fiddle with it and see how bright it gets. And then they get to see how bright it is. And if I can help one person and they can help 5 more and they can help 5 more, we're just going to light this place up.
That ripple effect is so magical, isn't it? And as you said, we don't always know what ripple we're actually starting when we're starting to release potential and light in people. A question. When you first started studying chiropractic, and there's different, and people listening will go, there's lots of different chiropractors, and they might actually be thinking right now, geez, this isn't what I thought chiropractic was all about. When you first started studying chiropractic, were you drawn more into the, what's the right way of putting, the less biomechanical side of things and the more, as you said earlier, connecting the innate and to spirit and to higher self? Was that something you were drawn to initially, or was that something that you discovered along the way? How did you end up practicing the way that you practice now? What's been the arc? Was it from day one of the last 40 years, or was there a little bit of a journey to get there?
No, it's a continuous journey.
Yeah.
I allowed myself to be attracted to anything that I was curious about. When I came in, I already had a belief in there was an innate. Because that's what my mom would say. Talk to God. He's going to help you fix it. Okay. So you always went direct. You didn't look for an outside thing. If you're emotionally heavy, you're going to get a counselor and you're going to talk to somebody. You got a fever, she would deal with it. You have an appendicitis, okay, we go to the hospital.
Good choice. Yes. That or if a broken bone with a bone sticking out of your leg. Probably good to go to the hospital.
But
yes.
How many times I've set a lot of bones, especially with children. I've set a lot of them, and then I'll wrap it and I'll tell the mom or dad, if he doesn't or she doesn't walk on it by tomorrow, if they pull it up again, bring him to the hospital, get an x-ray, and let's see. And they'll call me up and they'll say, Katina, the doctor was laughing because the thing was so aligned that all they had to do was just put a little cast on it. And I said, you can tell him I did it.
I love that. So you were called to because that belief system of innate was already there, that you were always heading in that more, in the vitalistic model of chiropractic, and really, but beyond that and into the multi-dimension as well, which is, I love the work that you do in looking at not only in the body, but beyond it as well. Was that something that was there from early on, or was that something that you discovered along the way?
I think it kept on expanding. I came in with a belief, and a background in acupuncture. I was teaching Touch for Health, which is Dr. Thiev's work. I was studying applied kinesiology and practicing it before I went to school. And I was adjusting people because I could watch my chiropractor and then I'd come home and I'd practice on my family and my friends.
Right.
So while in school, I did anything that I was attracted to. Motion palpation. I played sports. I did cocktail waitressing on the weekends so I could afford to live. What else? I studied nutrition. I studied anything I was curious about.
Yeah.
And then because school is hard, school beats chiropractic out of you. It really, sometimes I'll tell my students, I says, it's like jail. You just got to do the right thing, study it, memorize it, spit it out. Take every seminar you possibly can, and then and keep touching people, and it'll blend. And it wasn't until years afterwards, after I was practicing, that I found Sue Brown and I found biogeometric integration.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, by then it was called, we started it out as triune. So actually, I was practicing and I was in a large PI practice, personal injury. So it was a lot of, it's helping people who'd been traumatized in car accidents and keeping those kind of notes. It really didn't satisfy the depth of healing that I knew chiropractic could do. But thank God I found Sue Brown. And by then she was doing network. So I studied that. And then from there, that broke apart because she kept on finding these new things in people's bodies. And it became a seminar of, let's figure it out. And we'll just figure it out as it goes. So we had a first seminar actually here in Massachusetts and one up in Vermont where we found the posterior patterns.
Wow.
For about 3 to 4 months, we're all doing these posterior patterns and we're giving our patients headaches. So what's the matter? We're bringing all the energy up, right?
Yeah.
She goes, oh, there's an anterior. The energy comes up and over and goes down. Oh, good. Let's do another seminar, Sue. Show us what you got. And so she showed us the anterior geometry. And she literally mapped out the tree of life on the human body as a geometric, I consider it a harmony. And that we're able to put our hands on people's bodies and know the longitude and latitudes of where our hands want to come in, find the crinkle inside their body and help it to plump up or help it to recompress and plump up. And the person breathes into that area and they expand and their guts start working and the palpitations stop and kids take poops and headaches go away and all these big things happen because we're putting our hands into this tensegrity structure. I actually believe that when God makes this beautiful piece of equipment and that blows itself into it, it is perfect harmony. Then stuff happens and it gets all crinkled up and like dissonance. And we come along and we find where in the system that dissonance is. And it's a big tensegrity structure of disconnects. And we put our hands in it and we put our hands in it. And the person starts to expand and wiggle and find themselves and they start to stretch and they breathe bigger and they heal. So the development of the multi-dimensions, I had to use that word because we're going into their body, their anatomy, their skin, their cellular development, their multi-dimension fields, and we're affecting their fields on the outside. So it's I had to use that word to describe the multiple layers that we connect with.
I love it. I could listen to you talking about this all day. If I haven't quite decided yet whether we'll put this video up on YouTube yet because I'm sitting in my home office tonight. It is late. It's the Line G listeners know I usually go to bed quite early. It's past my bedtime tonight, Katina. So it's nighttime, and Katina is up bright and early in the morning because of the opposite times and with daylight savings. But I think it's I could listen to you talk about that all day because it absolutely floats my boat. And biogeometric integration is why I met you. And I don't know if I don't think I had a chance to tell you this story, but it was I look at BGI as being a universal scholarship for me because I was looking for something to add into my practice life. I knew I was being called to be doing something different with my hands-on work. And Dr. T ended up being introduced to me by a mutual friend who, when we first met each other, she couldn't get my name right. She was being all sorts of unusual. I'm like, I don't want anything to do with you. And then I actually realized that, no, okay, I see now. And now my beautiful space, Mitchell Road Chiropractic, hosts a lot of the BGI workshops, which is why she came to me in the first place, because the original location she was in got closed during COVID and hadn't reopened, and she needed a space desperately. And I said, sure, you can come as long as I get to come to the seminar. I had no idea what BGI was before she walked into my door with calling me the name, but maybe she knew a better name for me. But yeah, as I said, I could listen to you talk about that all day. What are one of the things, we were talking a little bit about it off air, one of the things I love to dive into in our Aligned and Thriving series is what keeps you in spirit and in joy on a daily basis, and what's a utopic day for you? What time do you get up? What sort of things do you like to do? Because one of the premises of this interview series is to look for the common threads of different people that have success. And is there a common thread that everybody does the same things to stay in spirit and joy, or is it lots of different things?
It's definitely a mindset and a choice. It's an awareness of what is important, in that if I allow my awareness to go to what's going on in the world, I get a little crushed. I get upset. I get angry. I get some tough feelings. So I use that as fuel to literally go, I can make a difference. I make choices. And that's literally the key, is making choices about what you eat, how you sleep, what you're going to do with yourself. Making choices for your body, your mind, and your spirit. Me, I'm a big scheduler. Everything is scheduled. And it starts with literally a coach years ago, a high-end coach taught me years ago to schedule everything. So Monday through Friday, I start at 5 and I write down all the way till 9 o'clock when I go to bed. And then I fill in all the little blanks. There should be a balance of 3. There should be a work schedule, one color, family schedule, another one. Oh my, and self. Remember self. That thing tends to get a little forgotten, which I've watched too many of my friends die, take heart attacks, all kinds of tough stuff. Heck, I blew my thyroid out too, not balancing my life. So when we're not in balance, it's a time to pull back and go, what do I need? Do I need to go on a retreat and heal myself and take care of myself? Do I need to add more patients or cut more patients at my office? And if I do, what am I going to do about it? Body, mind, spirit. What am I going to do about my mind? Oh, I'm going to watch certain things or read certain things. I nourish those 3 corporations. Okay. And a big one for me is spirit. It's very important for me to pray morning and night, and in between too, because sometimes I go, screw it, I don't have time. And what I notice is later on in the day, it just gets annoying. It's because I did not set my field. I'm in charge of me. I'm in charge of my inner field, and I'm in charge of my outer field. So literally taking the time to be aware and nourish my inner field and my outer field. My environment's really important. I like a clean place. I like my office a certain way. When I first went into my office, I used to lay on each table and smell it and feel it to make sure it felt right.
Actually, head into the headpiece to make sure.
Yes, exactly. And are the tissues where I want them? And I look at your field.
I like that.
Is your environment dirty or is it clean? If you're walking down the street and there's rubbish on the ground, all right, pick it up and put it in your doggy bag. Allow my inner field, my outer field, and my outer field to be clean and loving and bright, because that's who we are made to be. All this fear that got breeded with the pandemic, oh my goodness gracious, that was cruel to humanity. And that I now use as fuel to work myself brighter and help people find their brightness again. I'm noticing, like with the children that come in, they don't look at you, they don't talk, their heads are down. I'll observe children talking or hanging out together. They're all looking down at their cell phones to talk to each other. Whereas in the olden days, you punch each other, you hug each other, you squeeze, you wrestle a little bit. The tonalities of their voices would go up and down. So literally, if they're kind of in my realm, I'll make sure I kind of go over and I'll say something to spark them up. It might be something as simple as like, you guys all have the brightest eyes. Look at the way you're talking to each other, even though they're doing this. I'll kind of just throw a different sentence of potentials that they can look at each other in each other's eyes. You guys are so bright when you talk to each other, as you talk to each other, connecting in your bright eyes. So yeah, I stick my foot into places where
it makes a difference.
Where it makes a difference.
Whether it's invited or not. I love that. Are you still in practice regularly? Do you have regular days? And because I know you travel a lot.
I used to work 8 shifts, which would be 2 shifts, 4 days a week. And about, 15 years ago, I started bringing other chiropractors in. And so now I'm down to 2 shifts. And those are Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday morning is my exercise day. Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday, I'm a grandmother, so I go babysit. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at least once or twice a month, I'm on an airplane someplace.
Yeah, wow.
And so it's all scheduled. Everything's scheduled. Right now, I am looking forward to a month's worth of laundry, like this weekend. Because I have...
I'm glad you've got your lipstick on ready to go.
I do. You like that?
I know. I noticed. Oh, I noticed. I appreciate it at 5:00, whatever it was when we jumped on for you this morning. But you're all dressed up, ready for laundry. I love it. Well, you mentioned earlier the importance of personal time. When you were a young mum, was that something that was pretty easy for you to do, or did it take time to figure out putting yourself first? I can imagine that would have taken a wee bit of time, perhaps.
Now that I'm a grandmother, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
Because I can invest all my energy and all my time into that little person. Whereas I watch my kids, my daughter and her husband, and what it must have been like for me as a mom, and that you're a mom, but you're also doing 52 other things. But the number one priority is that baby, and pouring yourself into that child is the greatest gift any of us can do. Call in help and literally schedule it. If it means that, oh my goodness, our kitchen was under construction when we had our baby. So I called friends. Hey, can you cook me some food? And so literally reach out for help as a new mom. Be kind to yourself. Every time you nurse that baby, lay down and take a nap with that little person. Because your body needs 2 years to recover. It just grew a human being inside of you. It's the most fascinating, powerful gift we can do. And number one rule is do not beat yourself up. That nemesis needs to be taken away and thrown away, because that's actually spiritual battle. Okay. When the chattering comes in and says, oh, you didn't do it good enough. You should have done better. Oh, you're such a bad this, and you should be working more, and you should have, would have, could have, da. Okay. Take that voice, take that chattering thing, and take it out of your field. It's like a dirty dog coming in your house. Out. Just kick it out. Okay. That's going to be the biggest thing we can do, because our own mind chatter can hurt us.
Absolutely.
The inner God chatter is, bravo. Look what you do. You are great inside of you. Love heals all things. Love is greater than all fear. I give you exactly what I know you can handle. All these spiritual gifts that were given inside of this gift, let that be the driving force. And be a warrior when the liar comes in to irritate you, and you again push that dirty dog out of your house, off of your white carpet. Is
that something that over the years you've got better at? Have you always been good at knowing the difference between, as you call it, the liar? I would use the word occupant, coming into having a chat versus that spirit conversation. Have you always been really good at knowing the difference of the two, or is that something that as you've got more mature and wise that you're better at getting rid of the dirty dog off the white carpet?
More mature and more wise has made me talk about it. I didn't even know it existed. I thought it was all me. To the point where I did drive myself drive myself more. Oh, those 22 extra patients want to come in this week. Just add them on. That's okay. Add them on. And I burnt myself out. That was cruel to myself. I wouldn't do it to somebody else. I wouldn't do it to my workhorse. Yet we do it to ourselves. So in beating myself up and burning myself out, I had to learn. So
I think that burning out lesson is such an important one. And there's so many of us that work as in healing people that do burn ourselves out, because for many of us, we've been put on the planet to help and heal. And so we want to do that lots. And sometimes, as you said, sometimes to our own detriment. So that awareness piece of setting our boundaries is so very important. I talk a lot about it on the Aligned You podcast, is understanding what your non-negotiables are and what really serves you. Because if we're not serving ourselves first, it makes it very hard for us to serve other people at our best, right?
it's so true. Years ago, one of my shaman teachers, Dawn Eaglewoman, taught us boundary circles. And you literally take a piece of paper and you draw a circle and you put yourself in the middle and you sit with your thoughts. And it's like, oh, I'm not good enough. Put that on the outside. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, judgment. Put that on the outside. I'm like, well, you got a lot of noise. What are you going to put on the inside, Katina? I want to have confidence. I have peace. I have God. I have family. Oh, I'm smart. I'm capable. And you just start writing down all these gifts that we really are. I'm happy. I'm willing. Well, you're dumb. Oh, I put dumb on the outside. You don't know enough. Oh, put that on the outside. I'm willing. All right. That's my tools. So I fill up your circle with who you really are, your gifts and your tools. And the other extraneous stuff, put them on the outside. By pulling them out of the field and out of our field and writing them down, it becomes a more of a, what would you call it? A knife, and it cuts it. And if you do this for 21 days, you'll get really good at hearing and feeling the sounds and the tones and the words on myself, in the field, and on the clients. Now, because I've gotten really good at discerning what are my gifts and what are the lies, what are the pros and the cons, so that when I go up to a client, I'm already clear. When I go to a client, I can see and feel and hear, oh, judgment. So instead of me going, oh, you're judging yourself, I'll put my hands on their wound and go, breathe into this confidence that your body has right here. Breathe into this beautiful confidence, because I've practiced what does it look like on the outside and what do I not want inside. And I grab these words of kindness and confidence and truth. And that's what I impart and teach that client that I'm touching. And
that's so powerful. Aligned You listeners, you need to press pause and rewind for about the last 2 minutes and listen to that boundary circle again, and highly, highly recommend putting it into the next 21 days. P.S. If you're driving while you're listening to this, please don't start doing that. But and you're safe to stop and you can actually do that exercise and get a beautiful journal so that you can actually to be able to see that actually unfold. And do you think there's power on looking back at that circle over time, or once it's out, leave it alone?
I find for myself, I have a lot of little notebooks over the years where I start them. And usually about 2 weeks into it, oh yeah, this is great, I'm fine. And then I stop. And then the crap starts coming around again.
Yeah.
The sticking to that 21-day cycle, I think I've done it, I don't know how many times. Sometimes I've flipped through the little book. And one thing that I found profound was there was a circle and I put me and peace in the outside. And on the outside was everything else. I was like, wow, that's all I needed today was just me and peace. So that's you never know what you call into your circle, into your field, because your field is powerful. It's actually what makes you very bright. And
we could talk about that for a whole other episode, and I might be able to ask you to come back another time. We can unpack that a little bit more, because I'm doing a new series as well, a curiosity series, which is a little bit different than this one. So perhaps I will convince you to come back up, get up early another Saturday for me, and I'm very happy to stay up late anytime to talk to you, Dr. Katina. Before we finish off today, did you happen to see that top 5 that answers questions that I sent through to you? And if you didn't, that's all right. You did. You're yes. Excellent. Yep. Because I usually finish with my top 5, but today's about you, so it's about your top 5. What song is on high rotation for you right now?
I have a couple of them. The one that always works inside of me is "This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine." In that I'm choosing to let my light shine. And lots of times I literally just make up songs. I'll hear a word in the field, and I'll just start singing a song that has that word in it. Peace. My peace I give to you, and I can dance all day. It doesn't matter. I make things up.
Nothing wrong with that. So my beautiful wife Ames loves it when I start making up songs. She doesn't really. She finds it funny though. She just starts shaking her head at me. But we're currently practicing for a talent show on Tuesday night, which I keep making up words to the song that we're singing together. She just looks at me going, "This is not what we're singing." But anyway, what are you reading at the moment? Are you a reader? Are you a one book kind of reader, or you do have multiple books on the go, or do you prefer to do other things with your time?
I'm a gardener. I don't like to read. In that I'm a little dyslexic, so that it's very slow for me to read, and I have to be trapped somewhere, like in an airplane or something. But usually it's gardening. Get me some big trimmers, and give me. I like digging in the dirt barefoot and letting my hands get dirt underneath my nails and trimming things. Like right now, everything needs to be trimmed for the winter. So I'm having a blast going out there and pulling weeds and cutting things and transplanting, cutting big, beautiful plants that have gotten too bound up. I'll stick my big thing in it and I'll cut it up and transplant it. And now I have 4 plants where there were 1. So I love gardening. That's my favorite.
Oh, I love that. And is that what you love to do to de-stress and decompress, or is there something else that you love to do that just makes everything okay if you're having a bit of a bad day?
I'll walk. I won't come if I have a bad day. I won't come into the house till I stay outside, go walk, talk to the plants, maybe pull some weeds, take my shoes off, walk around on the wet grass. But I leave it outside. I connect to Mother Nature. I connect to the earth. I connect to the plants. I connect to my God. And then it's all gone. It's not mine. I just happen to be the pack horse that carried it. And I unload, and then I come in. I come into the home. Do not bring your stuff into the house. Please do not.
Very, very wise.
It's very, very
wise
important,
words.
You know? Yes.
Absolutely. What have you got a favorite quote?
My favorite quote.
It can be your own.
Usually when I finish adjusting somebody, I kiss them. I say, "I love you. Go play and live fully."
Oh, that's a great quote.
So I find I say that a lot to people, and that they look at me and they'll say, "Oh, you mean I'm done?" I'm like, "Yes. Now go live fully."
Now get off the table. I've got to smell if it's okay. Have you got any final thoughts for our Aligned You listeners, Dr. Katina?
Be kind to yourself. Be kind. The outside field can sometimes be a little too noisy. Our own chattery can be a little too irritating. That's not kindness, all right? God has some basic rules, and one of them is meditate upon all my good things. So look inside yourself, look around, and meditate upon the good things. Okay? We're actually neurologically set up to find the bad thing. I recognized that I was in a big room and they were like talking and and oh, Katina this and oh, Katina that. And one person they said, oh, she's dumb. And doesn't my ear hear that one voice amongst it all? Okay. We're set up that way. And it goes back to our primitive brain that when we're hunting and you're looking out there for what's the weakest place for me to hunt that animal, where's the weakest link? Find the weakest link in yourself and nourish it, whether it's in your mind, whether it's in your body, whether it's in your spirit. Find that weakest link and see what it needs. It may need some tender love. It may need a nap. It may need to eat. But practice kindness to your weakest link versus judging it.
Ooh, I might quote you with that. Is in terms of being kind to your weakest link. That might be a quote somewhere. I'll share the tile with you when I make it. Thank you so much for your time, your morning, my night time. It's been such a pleasure getting to hang out with you for this period of time. And Aligned You listeners, I hope you have loved today. There has been some absolute gold nuggets throughout today that you can start implementing straight away. And as I said, rewind to I think it was about 41 minutes into the interview tonight in terms of that boundary circle. That within itself is absolutely worth staying up any time of night for, Dr. Katina. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. That's it for this week, Aligned You listeners. Bye for now, and I'll catch you next time.
And that's it for today's episode, Aligned You listeners. Remember to hit the 5-star ratings and share today's episode with your friends. And be sure to join our collective on Facebook and Instagram at Aligned You. Look forward to catching you next time. The information shared on Aligned You podcast is of general nature and for information purposes only. It is not specific medical or personal advice. You should seek assistance from your healthcare practitioner for your individual circumstances. Any information provided doesn't imply endorsement or third-party devices or products and cannot provide you with health and medical advice.